Hi everyone, it's Mark from Tranquil Garden Urban Homestead. So we're right now beside our raspberry patch here, mainly because I want to prune these raspberries shorter. It's about time. They've been very productive this year, but the last berries we harvested probably back middle of November or so. So what we need for pruning our raspberries is two things. One, a good set of pruners. Make sure they're clean so that you're not putting disease into the raspberries from other plants. For the most part, it just requires a good scrubbing. I usually use a sanding sponge for that, and I've got a post on the blog about actually maintaining pruners, so I'll link to that in the description for this video below. The other thing is raspberries have thorns, so you want a good pair of gloves to keep your hands from getting too scratched up. So you may be wondering, well, why do we even prune raspberries? And before we continue, I actually just found one. Believe it or not, this is end of December, and there's actually a raspberry here. It's not in great shape, but I'll just munch on it. It's actually tasting good still. Alright, so back to what we were talking about. The reason why you want to prune these raspberries is you can see they're getting fairly tall. We want to basically prune them so that it encourages in the springtime when it warms up again new growth, and then basically we've got then some good strong canes. These raspberries are interesting in the fact that they actually get two crops. One is in sort of summertime, June or so, and then the other one is sort of towards the end of the summer, starting in September. And what happens is the new canes, or the old canes that are here right now, they get pruned off. We then end up with new growth, and we get then the first crop. And then from the bottom, actually, we get the new growth coming up, and that gives us the second crop. So what we'll do is we'll move the camera a little bit closer, and then we'll start our pruning process. Alright, so we're ready to prune these canes that you see right in front of us here. And as you can see, I'll point with my pruners, there are some kind of buds coming up here. And what we want to do is prune just above one of them. It doesn't matter too much where you prune in terms of which bud you keep. It's, for the most part, doesn't make a big difference. Not like other plants like roses and that, where you want to actually always cut above an outward facing bud so that the rose doesn't get too heavy with branches inside. So in this case we don't really care too much, but I'll anyways cut just above this bud here. And I'm basically maintaining roughly about maybe a 3-foot height, I think, to the canes. And alright, well, we got it off here, and as you can see, that's where all the berries were on, and this one will be going to be disposed of. So then what I do is I continue, so maybe this one here, I just maybe cut down here, and you just keep going along the whole row until you're done. So we're all done. We've got everything pruned. I've kind of maintained about a 3-foot height or so, and basically it took me maybe maybe at most 10 minutes. I stopped to actually eat one more raspberry, but essentially it's something simple that you can do. Good time of year to do it is in winter time, obviously, when things are dormant and things are done. And then the last thing that I'm going to do, not maybe today, is once I have some fresh compost ready, is I will give it a good layer of compost to feed the raspberries, to suppress some of the weeds that are coming up, might pull the weeds out as well, some of the bigger ones, but mainly just to give it a bit of a mulching layer, and also to feed the raspberries so that we'll get a decent crop next year. So then the final thing is we need to clean up. So we're going to clean our pruners, and we're going to also get rid of these branches, and I'll show you what I do with them. Alright, so we've got our handful of branches here, and we're going to come over here. A little bit of a walking tour of the garden as well. Oh, there's our big huge celery plant. We actually had some of the celery at on Christmas Day in our vegan loaf, and it was quite good. Nice to have celery still at this time of year. And so this is my pile of branches, and we've got some hydrangea branches and some other branches here, and that's where the raspberry branches are going to go, right on top. And eventually I'm going to do a little bit of chipping of the wood of the branches into a mulch, and then I can use that mulch on my paths, like these paths here, and even in the beds. And something to keep in mind, make sure you don't have any disease in your raspberries if you're going to chip it down into a mulch. If you do, then make sure to dispose of it properly in your municipal green bin or some other way.